Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo Sport. We're back with a daily race seat on the American servers, starting from the back of the grid, and I'm trying a car that I don't very often drive, a four-wheel drive Group 4 Subaru. So this is going to be interesting. We're trying to figure them out, and we're starting at the back, and this race was insane. So if you did enjoy this race, if you do enjoy it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comment section what you thought about the racing that you're about to see here. I think it's one of the best races I've had in a long time on Gran Turismo. Absolute respect, great side-by-side action, and just a really fun race. So yeah, starting off from P16, let's see how this race goes. So getting onto the main straight, you can see straight away we lose a slipstream because of the rolling start system on GT Sport. That is one thing I really hope to get sorted on GT7, is a 2x2 rolling start system, so we all start a little bit closer, because you can already see the field spread is huge. It's a bit crazy how it starts on GT Sport, but yeah, fingers crossed for GT7. So working our way through the first sector, we made a bit of a mistake into the braking zone of turn 1, braked a little bit late, but we've got right into that slipstream of P15 now, so we need to try and find a way past him as soon as possible. So into the braking zone now, let's try and get it nice and tight to apex. So one thing with four-wheel drive cars is you've got to try and get it very close to apex. Kind of uses the curbs a little bit to help with rotation. It actually helps rotate the car very nicely. And again, you want to square the cars off. So for example, into this corner, brake it a little bit late, then rotate the car and then get on the power knife. So you want to kind of square it off. You see how we do that? Whereas with the Megane, I would say a lot tighter to the apex on that corner and then just get on the throttle. But with this, you want to square it off and then really get heavy on that throttle. Now we're working our way into this really tricky right-hand corner. Again, Subaru, very tricky to avoid penalties, as P15 is about to find out there. Runs wide out the corner. He's going to get a penalty for that. Now, I expected him, because he had a penalty with losing pace there, to just wait there, but he goes for a move up the inside, so I have to back out, give him space on the inside, and I just decided to let him go there because it wasn't worth getting pushed off the track. So yeah, we just let him tuck up on the inside there, and now you can see a lot of chaos building up in front of us. You can see a lot of side-by-sides, a lot of contact going on up there. I think one car's actually just been pushed slightly wide there, and I decided here this is probably a good opportunity to go in the pits, because you can just see chaos everywhere as we see the Subaru get pushed wide, another car gets spun off out the outside, and two Ferraris in front of us decide to pit and a Ferrari behind us. So we're in a bit of a Ferrari sandwich right now. So we're going to fast forward the pit stop, because this track has an insanely long pit stop distance, around 28 seconds. Like obviously for normal games that isn't that long, but on GT that's quite a long pit lane. But you can see coming out the pits, we've got a Ferrari right in front of us, another Ferrari ahead of that, and the Ferrari on our behind us is going to try and go around the outside here now. Now watch this for some incredible racing, because we are now going to go side by side all the way from turn 1 through this right-hander. He's still on our left-hand side. You can see it in the bottom right-hand corner on the replay camera as well, just how insane this racing was. Now we've still got the run, but we got the inside. He's got the left-hand side with a bit more exit speed, but we can break a little bit later on the inside line, and we can take that tight line that the Subaru really likes and get on that throttle as early as possible. But again, he's still holding it on the outside. Now we're going to have to try and hold the outside, so we go for a wider line, again squaring it off, and then early on that throttle, use the full width of the track, and again we are still side by side going at this lap. You can see pretty insane driving. Again into the braking zone, we're going to give him the space on the inside there, and still we're side by side. We get a really nice exit there, we get a bit of slipstream, and that is just going to mean we can just tuck back up into P18. So some great racing going on there, and that is what I'm talking about with Gran Turismo. And it really does show you how great Gran Turismo can be at its very best, because you don't see racing like this on many other games. Not when you just join a server like this. This is a sport mode race. It's not an esports competition. This was just a daily race, but obviously there's matchmaking in this, and this was actually quite a high-ranked American lobby actually. Very fast driver that's behind us, actually, the PX7 driver. So working our way now into the final sector. This is where the Subaru should actually be strong. However, I'm not that particularly great with the Subaru yet. I think I'd need more practice. But one thing I will say is I need to get it back in that Ferrari and give the Ferrari a go around Catalunya, because one of my favourite cars in Group 4 is the Ferrari. And watching how fast P17 is in that Ferrari in this race makes me think I need to give it a time trial and then get used to it and do it for some daily races on the EU server. So yeah, working our way through sector 1, we managed to hold him off into the braking zone. We had just about enough of a gap, and now we're starting to catch up the other Ferrari there in P14. So we need to try and get into that slipstream as quickly as possible, to not only to pass him obviously, but to help defend against the Ferrari behind him, because the Ferrari in Group 4 is incredibly fast on the straights. It's one of the fastest cars on the straights, and it's also got very good handling. So for this track, it kind of makes sense that it's going to do well. But yeah, we did try this car actually when we did the open lobby session on Sunday, because I thought it would be good, the Ferrari. But I decided to go to the Megane after the Megane felt a little bit easier to drive. I think I should go back to the Ferrari and give it another go, because that Ferrari looks insane around this track. So into this really fast chicane there. Subaru pretty strong on that section. Now into this right hand corner. Subaru does struggle a little bit in this corner. It does struggle to carry as much speed as some of the other cars like the Megane and stuff. And we use the track limits to the maximum there, and picking up the slipstream now to P14. Going a little bit defensive here, because I was just wondering if he was going to go for a move up the inside. We should be okay now, just to follow behind the Ferrari that's right in front of us, and see if we can use his slipstream on the straight to try and overtake him, and also to try and help us defend against P16 behind us. So yeah, into his final sector, have a little look there. We're not going to go for a move, just try and off-put him a little bit, just so that he doesn't get too far away from me, just so that I can keep getting that slipstream. So through this final chicane, again, Subaru nice and stable through there, but the Ferrari behind us looks also very, very stable. So yeah, now we're going to get that slipstream, and you're going to see just how fast this Ferrari is, because look at the Ferrari in front of us, just not really getting that much closer because it's so fast on the straight. And the Ferrari behind us with that slipstream, even now, why we've got the slipstream, is also pulling away from us. But we've got enough of a slipstream from P12. We're going to go as late as we can with the brakes. And P12 does really well here, actually, to hold on to P12. They braked incredibly late and held the line. So some great racing going on here. 3 cars battling it out. And now we're going to go for that tighter line. Just skim the apex on the curb there. Gives us a bit of rotation. And now we've got the inside line into this heavy braking zone. So we should be able to go for a move. Let's see what we can do. Braking as late as we can. Try and get it to skim the curb on the right hand side, and we managed to take that really tight line, and on the throttle nice and early with the 4-wheel drive gives us better traction, and we've managed to get ourselves up into P12. So now we've just got to defend the inside line here. They're going to go side by side behind us, and it looks like PX7 driver is going to get ahead there, and he's right behind us. So yeah, we now need to push and see if we can catch the 2 other cars that are right in front of us. So again, it's going to be important to get as close to them as we can as quickly as possible, because I'll need their slipstream to help defend against that Ferrari, which is incredibly fast on them straights. So again, through that long right hand corner where you really got to be careful not to run too far wide. We're going to go defensive here, but he actually gives us a bump draft. I think what he's thinking here is give us a bump draft there and overtake us on the main straight, because obviously we haven't got slipstream at this stage, so it should help him out. So I decided to really go maximum attack through here, because if I can just try and pick up a bit of slip from P11, that will help me defend on the straight. So let's see what we can do as we go into this tricky last section. Very technical, all about getting your braking point spot on in the Subaru. Just brake before the overhead board there, down second gear, attack the curb, early upshift to third gear, and just try and cut some of it, because otherwise you can easily run wide on the outside of that corner. But you can see we've just managed to creep just now into the slipstream. That's going to help me go a little bit faster on the straight, but you can see, is it going to be enough to defend against the Ferraris? Going around the left hand side, can we brake late? We brake quite late there. We got the inside line, and we're able to hold on to P12. So got lucky there, and now we've got the slipstream to P11 to try and help us pull us forward towards the other cars ahead of us. So into the braking zone again, fast forward in the action as we're getting very, very close there now, right up behind P11. So now the problem is he's probably going to hold us up rather than help us. So we need to try and think about a way of getting past the Subaru in front of us. So again, try and get a really good exit off this corner up here. So we can't really see the turning in point because we're a bit unsighted, but we managed to hook it up quite nicely onto the throttle, use some of the curb, and now are we going to be in position to send one up the inside? Now, the good thing about Subaru is you can actually send it from quite far back, because you can go down to first gear. However, he manages to see that coming, defends it, and we can't really do much there. He's really good defensive driving. But now we are right up behind. Just look how close this is. The Ferrari's actually going to consider going round the outside of our car. He has a think about it, but he just doesn't have the grip to go all the way around the outside there. And we have a little look on the Subaru there on the inside, but again, we're a little bit too far back. Now I decided to back out a little bit here and give myself a bit of a gap so that I can try and get a strong exit off the corner. However, the Subaru made a mistake, and right on the exit, you can see we're right up behind him and bump drafting him, because there's nothing else we can do at this point. We can't overtake in that corner, so we're right up behind him. I decided to bump draft him on the straight to see if we could maybe work together to hold that Ferrari off, but you can just see how fast that Ferrari is. But luckily he goes to the right hand side. That's going to try and defend against the Ferrari. However, the Ferrari's got up the inside. Now I see a gap here. Now that P10's got the inside, I take that inside line, and we manage to get ourselves up into P11. So now we're behind the Ferrari. We've got to try and stay with this Ferrari that has been incredibly fast, and you'll see how fast this Ferrari is. Not just the Ferrari, the driver as well. The driver is incredibly good on this track and car, unbelievably fast. But the Ferrari does look incredibly good. I do need to try it out. I'm very tempted to give it a go one day on the EU on my main account once I've got used to it, because the straight line speed was incredible. So again, into the braking zone, Ferrari very good at rotation through here and getting on that power nice and early. One thing about the Ferrari as well, it's got really good traction, so it actually can compete a little bit with the Subaru for them exits of corners, and then you've just got more speed once it gets going. So into this really fast flowing section, you've got the Evo up ahead now in front of P10 in that Ferrari. So let's see if this is going to cause any issues as we come through the right hand corner. It's Wadadi up there in P9, and you can see the Ferrari gets an incredible exit. I actually thought he was going to get a penalty there because he looked like he ran a little bit wide. He's going to try and go around the outside. Wadadi defending on the inside. Let's see what happens here. Wadadi's got the inside. He gets on the throttle, tries to give him space, but there is a little contact there. We then go up the inside and up into P10. So Wadadi did apologise for that little bit of contact, but it wasn't anything malicious. It was just a tiny bit of contact there. But yeah, we managed to take advantage of that and put ourselves back up into P10. And now we're going to try and get the slipstream. So again, we're going to take it easy for you. You can see I'm not really going to go ultra aggressive because I want to give myself a gap to get the slipstream. And now we've got that gap. We go for the really good exit. And now we've got the slipstream to P9 and see if we can get past him. But we've also got to be careful of that Ferrari that is going to be incredibly fast on the straight. So you can see we've got the slip down the straight. Let's see if we can go for a move and get ourselves up into P8. So we're going to go on the inside line, and now we've got the Ferrari coming up behind us. Can we brake late enough to avoid both of them behind? And we do that nice and early on the brakes, hit the apex. You can see the Ferrari goes for the move up the inside there and takes that position back and up into P10 also for the Ferrari. So now we've got a bit of clean track. We're going to skip ahead to the end of that lap, and you can see that Ferrari is right behind us here. We tried to get a really strong exit off the chicane, but the Ferrari behind us was just nailing that final chicane every single lap. And you can see once he was in my slipstream here, there wasn't any point defending, so I just kept the car in a straight line because there is no point even trying to defend against this Ferrari, because just look how fast it is. It wouldn't have mattered. He was ahead of me before the braking zone. So yeah, we just kept the car on the left hand side, and now we're going to just try and follow him and see if we can stay with him, and then maybe we can try and go for a move with a bit of slipstream or in a braking zone, because you can do that with the Subaru. But yeah, this is going to be difficult. You can just see how fast that Ferrari is in front of us. So again, following as closely as we can and into the braking zone under the overhead board there, and just trying to keep it nice and tight through here. You can see that Ferrari also doing very, very nice tight lines to the apex there. That Ferrari really liking that line, getting it, able to get the power on so early and really get good exit speed from the corner. So again, trying to stay nice and close again here, trying to rotate that car so we can get on the power nice and early. And we're managing to stay with him at this point, not really losing too much pace. I do think if we practice with the Subaru a bit more, we can find a bit more pace. This was my first ever day racing the Subaru on here. It's not really my kind of car because of the understeer, but I do think we can find another couple of attempts with this car. It does feel like it's got the potential to do 42 6s and 7s in race pace when you solo without slipstream. But into the braking zone, we have a little look up the inside here, but we're too far back. We can't send that from that far back, and I think he knows that, so he takes his normal racing line. But on the exit here, we get really good traction, and we're very, very close to him here. We need to stay as close as we physically can for the straight, because the only way we can go for a move is by staying a couple of attempts behind and then being able to send it into turn one. So again, through here, try and keep it nice and tight, keep it nice and smooth, brake early, hit the curb here, and then early upshift to third gear, cut some of the corner. But you can just see that I honestly thought there on the exit again, I thought that Ferrari was going to get a penalty because he runs really wide, but somehow he actually avoids that. I think it's because he runs wide later on in the corner. I think the later on you run wide, the better, because it won't pick up a penalty. If you do it earlier in the corner, you're more likely to get that penalty. But luckily, coming down the main straight, we both managed to get ahead of that Subaru, and now we've only got 2 laps to go. So 2 more laps to battle this out and see who can take this position. We're technically in about P6, I think it is at the moment, because people haven't pitted up ahead. So this is basically for the top 5, who can get into the top 5 battle in this race. Now, we obviously lost a bit of time early on fighting, but like I say, it doesn't matter where you finish with these races. Sometimes it's about the racing that's involved with it, and this is just absolutely brilliant racing that I love to see on GT Sport. It's why we still play GT Sport today, because there's not many other games you get this kind of intense racing on, in my view. A lot of other games, it's a little bit slower paced, it's not as action based, and yeah, Gran Turismo is just another level for that kind of thing. So again, We're going to get that slipstream, try and get a strong exit off this fast right-hand corner, because you can see he's actually starting to pull away here. So we need to really nail the chicane here. We do that reasonably well, getting on the power nice and early. And we've got that gap around 4 tenths, so we should be able to stay with him. But as we come through here, you can see that he goes a little bit wide and also cuts the corner on the first part of the chicane before, and he's picked up a ½ second penalty. So what I need to do now is stay with him as much as possible, because he's going to have to take that penalty. So we're going to fast forward through here, all the way through this final sector, and then onto the main straight. You can see that we're just managing to stay with him. Now we've got the slipstream down the straight. We can see we're just past another Subaru there that's come out the pit. So we're up to P6. We've got P5 in front of us, and we've got a car right in front of P5 here. So will he get involved with this battle? This is going to be very, very interesting if he gets involved, causes any issues. So we're going to keep on him and see if we can put him under pressure. But you can see he's really, really going for it in that Ferrari, because he knows he's got that ½ second penalty. So he's going maximum attack on this lap, and we just got to try and stay with him and then try and get past him when he takes the penalty. So we go through there purple, quite a good first sector, and now onto the throttle and just trying to get ourselves that braking point to get the car rotated into this left-hand corner. So on the brakes, square the car off early into the second gear, and then on that throttle as early as we can. Didn't quite get a very good exit there. It's a bit of a dodgy exit, but we're just about hanging into that slipstream. You can see into the braking zone. Again, through here, you can see he's now got the slipstream to P4, which is going to benefit him because he's going to get that extra momentum from acceleration. So into this right-hand corner, you can see we actually gain a little bit on him though, because he's obviously got that slipstream, which is going to cost him a bit of time in corners like that. Now he's took that penalty. Can we go for the move? So we're going to go to the right and then fake it up the inside, brake as late as we can in the Subaru, down to first gear, onto the curb to give him space. We're going to go side by side again all the way through here. This is incredible end to this daily race. You can see side by side all the way on this right hand. You can see in the bottom right hand corner just how close this racing is, and this is brilliant stuff. Again into this right hand corner. Now there was a tiny little bit of contact there, but it was nothing that bad. Knocks us a little bit wide, but I think that's all fair in a race like this. On the final lap, you've got to take contact like that. That is how racing should be in a way. And that was a brilliant battle. And P5, the Ferrari is going to take that P5. However, there was a driver that's gone in the pits there, you can see, in P4, and he's actually going to lose that position because he's forgot to pit. So we end up in P5, Ferrari in P4. But what amazing racing. Let's just take a look at some of that racing. Now, this was early on in the race on lap 2. And just watch how long this lasts for. And this is why Gran Turismo is still so great today. And this is Gran Turismo at its very, very best in my view. Just all the way through this corner side by side. Now the Ferrari's going to get a better exit because he's got the toe to the car in front. However, we've got the inside line, so we know we can brake a little bit later. You can see that. And now we've got that tighter line, which gives us a little bit better traction. And again, he's got the outside line, which is going to give him a bit better exit speed. But now we've got a bit of slipstream from the Ferrari, so we're going to brake as late as we can and try and give a wider line as possible, which is going to give us the ability to get on the throttle and go onto the exit curb there. And you can see still side by side. This is what I'm talking about. Absolute amazing racing going on here. Again, into this really fast chicane, and just look at the awareness of space. And this is what I always say, you don't need a radar if you're racing with someone who knows about awareness of space, because as long as you both know what space you're giving each other, that is all you need. You just don't need a radar in these situations, because as long as the person you're racing has good awareness, it works perfectly fine. So again, we go for that move on the inside. I managed to send it up the inside of that Ferrari and get ourselves up a position. Then we go to the final lap again, and you can see as we come through here, we go for a really nice little fake here up the inside. He sees it there on the inside, and now we're going side by side. We actually go on the curb a little bit there. You can see that he saw there was going to be a bit of contact and backs out of it. And now we're going to go side by side all the way through. And you see again, look at the awareness of space. Both of us knowing exactly where each other is. Now there is a tiny bit of contact here. We're going to slow it down to show you. But like I say, this is acceptable in my view. You can see it's a tiny bit of contact. And you can't complain at contact like that, especially on the final lap. And yeah, we had a little look up the inside, decided to back out of that, but what it did offset him a bit into the corner, and we tried to get a good exit off the last chicane. And yeah, some absolutely brilliant racing. But that is, like I say, Gran Turismo is very best, and I hope you lot enjoyed it. If you did enjoy that race, please do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It does help us out. We're going to be doing a lot of Gran Turismo 7 content, so yeah, get subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you all soon for more videos and live stream. Thanks again for watching, everyone.